Nerdcast assemble!
Stay dandy, baby. The Kara art continues to infect me with its badassery in another exciting episode of Boruto Naruto Next Generations. The Kara arc in the Boruto anime series has been a roller coaster of emotions. It's also been a roller coaster in a sense that it's had its ups and it's had its downs. There's been a lot of things about this arc that I've really been enjoying, and there've also been a few low moments. I think the part that I didn't enjoy the most was where we went to the Land of Silence, and everything sort of slowed down a little too much. Whenever Deepa came into the story, however, things have really started to pick up, and the last couple of episodes have been, dare I call it, really damned exciting, and I've really been enjoying every minute of it, and I really love how the last couple of episodes has actually made me not only appreciate the fact that we have new characters, we have Deepa, but also the Haze ninjas, the twins, these characters who I did not even give a crap about a couple of episodes ago have become infinitely more interesting in the last couple of episodes and have transformed into some of the most memorable characters that I've actually seen from the Boruto anime series. Not to mention what I especially love about everything that's going on here is that we have three distinctive factions which are actually trying to take control of the Hashirama cells. Of course, we have Boruto and his team which are trying to take them back, the Haze ninja which are trying to return them to their land to try and make it a better place, and then of course there's Kara, who is sending Agent Deepa on the hunt to not only bring a lot of damage, death, and destruction, but to also add this layer of tension and fear to this entire arc, which just makes it all the more infectious and fun to watch. So, with that in mind, let's go ahead and dive into 2 episodes this time. That's right, I didn't have an opportunity to watch the last one, so I am going to briefly talk about that before I talk about the latest episode of the series. What I will say is, I like both of them. And they're very similar episodes in terms of what's actually going on here. In fact, they're practically the same story, but with different characters and different abilities. With the last episode all being about Boruto and their team being confronted by a member of the Haze ninjas who utilizes a jutsu which is downright disturbing. It's a forbidden jutsu which essentially takes the user's life, and what it does is it actually creates a massive barrier which traps all of his enemies, and it also takes this guy, condenses him into like this red jewel, which is then used as the life source for summoning a weird demonic monster which can actually regenerate itself when it sucks out the chakra of its enemies. And this monster is freaky deaky, y'all. I really love the simple but really creepy design of it. It's basically like a giant demonized golem-like monster which is surprisingly fast and can take a lot of damage. Hell, there's a couple of times in this episode where the characters almost outright die. Boruto almost has all of his chakra just ripped from his body. If it wasn't for Konohamaru coming down and hitting this thing with a Rasengan, basically he'd be screwed. And again, this thing is incredibly like defensive. Like it can take a lot of damage. There's a scene where Konohamaru, like I said, hits it with a freaking Rasengan, and it doesn't just like instantly break through it. It takes a lot of effort for him to push through and destroy this thing, and it doesn't completely obliterate the arm as it simply just takes off a small part of it. Basically, this monster is not going to stop hunting these people until it is eaten all of them and ripped out all of their chakra, or everything that practically lives within this barrier. It's also a really fun excuse to see these characters sort of butt heads a little bit more. We've already seen that Boruto and Mugino have already been like at it like multiple times throughout this entire arc right here, but basically we get to see that come to a head in this episode where Mugino feels that the best method and the best way to not risk anyone's lives is they have to find a way out of this barrier without fighting this monster, and of course everybody else just wants to fight the monster willy-nilly, and that's the way it goes. But they learn the hard way that that's actually not going to be all that simple, but they basically end up sort of like sacrificing themselves in these like really cool ways. Like there's this great scene where Mugino just like jumps down and grabs this monster by grabbing on the top part of its jaw, bending it over his back while his chakra is being sucked out so that Boruto and Konohamaru can both simultaneously hit it with a Rasengan to defeat it. And this scene was freaking awesome. I really loved it. It looked great. But what I especially loved about all of this was not simply the monster fighting, the barrier, and the cool action, was building upon these Haze ninja characters who, like I said, I didn't care about them before, but showing how desperate they are to get to the Hashirama cells, to get them to their land so that they can save all of their people, shows how dedicated that they actually are to their cause and what they're actually like trying to do here. If it means sacrificing their lives, they're gonna do it. And this is a wake-up call to Boruto and his friends, as they've never experienced a ninja world like this, getting to see people that would go this far to sacrifice their very own lives for what they actually believe in. This is something that would have been very standard in the old world Naruto. In the current world of Naruto, where Boruto is experiencing this brand new peaceful world, this is practically unheard of. So it's really weird to actually see him witness this. And then, of course, we have Deepa, who before was having a battle with Omoy and just beating the crap out of him. And he pretty much proceeds to do the same thing in the episode, where basically Omoy's comrades decide to try and help him. And Deepa says that he's basically going to kill Omoy if he doesn't get any information about where the Hashirama cells are headed. His friends decide to give up the answer, saying that the Haze Ninja have taken them, and then Deepa straight up just executes them, impaling them directly through their chests and stomachs, and saying that he's going to let Omoy live. Basically, Deepa is a psychopath and he's really creepy. And throughout the next episode, basically he's on the hunt for the Haze Ninja. And you get to see him at the very end of that episode. As most of the next episode focuses on another member of the Haze twins who utilizes another forbidden technique, which, while not as visually stimulating as, say, like a giant, ridiculous, goofy stole golem monster that's just gonna wreck shit, it's a really cool technique overall. It's kind of like this like weird sort of like quicksand swamp kind of ability where he basically gets covered with a curse mark, and then suddenly all of these like weird sort of like purple sludge-like tentacles grab all of them, and they all start to slowly sink down into the earth. Essentially, he's trying to take Boruto and his team with him, and basically they're able to spread this out over the course of an entire episode, and they manage to make it work. And a lot of that is actually between the confrontation between this Haze Ninja and Boruto. I really love it. Boruto just can't accept that someone would do something like this, to give up their own life in order to complete a mission. It's something that he's never like fully like understood about this world, and now that he's like seeing it right in front of him, it's kind of like rocking him to his core, because his like hero mode is kicking in. He wants to save this guy, knowing that it's the only thing that he can do in this moment. There has to be another option other than A or B. There must be a C in this answer, and he's going to do everything in his power to actually make this happen. And again, I don't know what it was, but just I love the dynamic of those Haze Ninja, how they continue to give up their lives in order to make this mission work. And also, I have a little theory that I'm going to get into that I think involves their earrings or something later on, as I have a feeling the last remaining member, Asaka, I believe his name is going to utilize those earrings for something really cool. But essentially that's what happens, like whenever they break off, they hand their earrings to one another, and I think it's going to be tied to some special ability. But basically this entire episode is watching Boruto desperately try to stop this guy from end up not only killing himself, but all of his friends. And the other thing about this ability is the closer you get to the user, the faster you're going to start to sink. So Boruto ends up getting like right next to this guy, and it's basically going to end up happening. And throughout this entire episode, like, Sarada and Mitsuki are desperately trying to get him to stop, and I gotta give some credit to the voice actress who does Sarada's voice. The emotion that she put in this episode, and the desperation when she was screaming for Boruto to not go any further, was downright chilling. It sent a chill down my spine, so to speak, and it just really made this episode so tension-filled. And the overall image, too, of his ability and the way that it looked in this episode was just plain awesome, I do have to say. That, with the combination of the backstory of the Haze Ninja, of how they were taken in by this land as orphans, and how they're going to do everything in their power to use this Hashirama cell to make things better. I'm not sure what that actually entails, so to speak, but it makes them way more sympathetic and way more interesting, especially when they build upon the fact that the other brother, we got to see like what his ability was when he passed away for the first time, and watching them all get bumped off one by one has been nothing short of mind-blowing, and it's made them so much more interesting than they were when they were first portrayed during the whole Land of Silence part of this storyline. So eventually Boruto does get this guy to actually stop, and that's where we also get to see the return of Omoy, who warns them about Deepa and his incredibly strong power, and basically the next episode looks like they're going to be dealing with him and even possibly the other brother. So what's the rundown on both these episodes of Boruto? Solid material right here across the board. I really did enjoy it. But again, it's those Haze brothers. I didn't expect to like them as much, but man, this episode made me actually give a shit about them, and that's something that I think is definitely worth mentioning, and I really did love it about these episodes. Again, I think those earrings are going to play a really important role, where eventually when they're all collected, they can maybe be combined into a single thing, which will give that character like a massive power-up, or maybe if like the user wears all of them, they can utilize some sort of other special ability, which allows them to manifest some other weird forbidden jutsu. Because I have a feeling here we're going to end up having like this big three-way battle with Deepa and the last member Asaka, and then Boruto and his team. And I even wonder as how far this whole part with Deepa is actually going to go, if they're going to make him just the main villain of this arc, or if they're going to try to use him a little bit later. But the buildup of his character is just great, because even with all this crazy stuff going on with the Haze Ninja, like, Deepa is still in the back of my mind the biggest threat of this entire arc. And, he hasn't even really shown what he's truly capable of yet, so I'm very excited to see all of that. That being said, I really loved both of these episodes quite a bit. If only for the creativity that's been used in the Jutsu. We've seen similar things to it before, but the way that it was executed here was really great. And I know this is just probably a coincidence because there's 4 of the brothers, but their overall dynamic, while not exactly the same, and just the otherworldly way they use their abilities, gives me, like, it reminds me of the Sound 4 from the original part of the Naruto anime. And like I said, they have almost nothing in common in terms of, like, personality, but just the fact that they have these really weird abilities, and they're willing to go this far and do all this stuff, it just gives me that sort of, like, weird old school Naruto vibe, and I really love that. I always love when they bring supernatural elements too, like, into the show. I mean, there's an explanation for chakra and how it works and everything, but the fact that it can do so much, like summoning a freaking, like, giant monster within a barrier, like, that type of stuff is crazy. It shows that there's still a lot of creative things in the Naruto world, and it goes beyond just throwing a shuriken or using, like, some sort of, like, weird elemental ability. Like, I couldn't have predicted that this guy would have been able to summon, like, a giant monster like that, and it completely surprised me. And like I said, anytime there's, like, a supernatural element to the show, I think it's awesome, because it just opens the floodgates and doors for more crazy shit later on. Basically, I loved the creativity of these episodes and the tension that came from them. They also had some pretty good animated moments, and it looks like it's only going to get better in the next episode of the series. Just look at that preview. Is it just me, or is Sarada looking really awesome in the next episode? Basically, I'm pumped. I'm really glad that I'm getting excited about this again, because I have to admit, the Land of Silence stuff was really starting to bore me a little bit, but now it's getting exciting again. The characters are fun. There's development, there's cool brand new abilities. I am pumped up. So, yeah, I liked both of these episodes. I'm giving both of them a 4 out of 5. I thought they were really solid material and some of the most distinctive stuff that I've seen from the Boruto series. So far, aside from a few bumps in the road, I think the Kara arc has been really satisfying and some of the best material that I've actually seen from the series thus yet. And considering that it's wholly original and created for the anime and is going to connect to an even bigger storyline, that's a pretty damn big accomplishment. So yeah, loved these episodes, but I want to get your thoughts. Make sure to sound off in the comment section below and tell me what you thought about both of these episodes, and what you hope to see from the next episode of the series, the battle with Deepa, the last of the Haze Ninja, and what you want to see from more of the Kara arc. Let's talk about it, guys. Thank you so much for watching this review. Please subscribe to the channel for more videos just like this one. If you liked this video, hit the like button. It helps out these videos a lot, and it ensures more people can see my content. I also really want to thank all of my patrons who've been checking out my Patreon page, making donations, watching the videos. Remember, first-time donators, I'll review an anime series of your choice. So thank you guys so much for watching this review. I'll see you all next time. And as always, stay down there, baby.